right, what's up, guys? Hey, it's Teo here and Jimmy. And basically, what we're going to do today is we're going to do the winner's mindset. So these webinars are essentially to help you understand, what's behind the winner's mindset. How do we build businesses, and how do we grow them from 6 figures to even 7 figures? Okay, how do we go out there and consistently crush numbers? Like Jimmy here has hit $530,000 in 6 months, consistently crushing numbers. And for example, what I do in my business, after all said and done, my net profit every single week is roughly anywhere between $30,000 to $40,000 net profit. I could buy a nice Mercedes GLA every single week with my earnings, all right? And that's net profit. I'm not talking about gross and $100,000 in gross, and I'm talking about net profit. And that, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the winner's mindset. What creates a winner? Okay, how do you actually get to that winning mindset? How do you actually go out there and continuously crush numbers without having obstacles in your way, preventing you from blocking you from getting to your goals? Now, when I first started this business, there's a lot of obstacles in my way. Information overload. Okay, most of you guys out there, you guys have this information overload. You go and watch all these hundreds of YouTube videos, and you go and you take all these courses, and then eventually, if you don't do anything about it, you're not going to get anywhere, right? Don't you agree? Like Jimmy, don't you agree with me? Like if you don't go and take action, so someone like Jimmy, if you don't go take action, you're not really going to get anywhere. So you take a look at yourself 6 months from now, and you ask yourself, where do I want to be? Where do I truly want to be in this field? Okay, where do I see myself in the next year from now? Do I see myself doing the same exact thing I did the last year, or do I see myself completely changing my life? Like 3 or 4 years ago, I didn't imagine myself being a 7-figure earner. Okay, I would never have imagined myself making $30,000 to $40,000 a week in net profit. Okay, I would never have imagined myself doing that. Even 6 months ago, Jimmy, would you ever imagine yourself making $500,000 in 6 months? Right?
No,
Think about it.
yeah, I mean, that's a crazy thing. It just thinking about where I came when I first started, and again, like a little bit about my backstory. I started just back in October of 2017, and I came across Teo and your training, and before that, I had really never considered myself an internet marketer or a Facebook guy or anything like that. So it's just crazy to see like how far you can come with a little bit of training and mentorship. And if you dedicate yourself to the process, and having, like you and me talk about this all the time, I think that's probably one of the most important things is mindset. And that's going to be a recurring theme during these shows, is just talking about the winner's mindset, because it's so important. There's so many times when I first started my store that I was ready to give up and quit. My credit cards are maxed out. I didn't have any ad spend left. But I found a way to make it work. By any means necessary, I wasn't going to quit. I believed in myself. I invested in myself, and I just kept saying, like, at some point, like I'm going to win, right? If I just keep pushing, and I know I'm smart, I know I have what it takes. Eventually, I'm going to find a winner, and I'm going to break through. 6 months for me was like unbelievable from where I came to where I am now, with my store doing well over $500,000 in sales. But a lot of it is just having that mindset. I mean, I could have stopped at month 1, month 2, or month 3, and I would have lost. a good amount of money that I couldn't afford to lose at the time. But because I stuck with it, it was in my 4th month when I really broke through. And if I'd quit it, on the 90th day, I would have been out, thousands of dollars with everything I invested. But I stuck through, and I was actually able to break through in January, my 4th month, to become profitable.
Actually, you would have actually not lost thousands of dollars. You would have literally lost hundreds of thousands of dollars if you just stopped right there. Right?
Exactly. I mean, I love that. If you talk about opportunity costs, right? I mean, it's not just what was lost at the time, but the potential earnings, which is, I mean, I love that. Just thinking about opportunity costs, like, yeah, I mean, 500,000, I would have lost, probably the 10,000 I had invested at the time, plus another 500,000 in sales that I got, and even from this point forward, I mean, and I've told you this, my goal is really to hit 1 million. When I hit 500,000, I think maybe it was a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I wasn't even really, I was happy, but I wasn't like ecstatic. I wasn't jumping off the chair about it, because for me, it's like, you know, I posted it in our chat group, 500,000 hashtag unfinished business. Because for me, it's about the big one, right? It's about the 1 million. And when I get to 1 million, I think, you know, we can celebrate a little bit. But for me, 500,000, that's just a stepping stone. And that's part of that winner's mindset. That's part of the winner's mindset is like, I mean, I can, if you want, you know what, let me show this graphic right now. I think it would be a good time to do that.
Yeah, I mean, with the winner's mindset, it's really, I mean, we talk about this, and it may seem like, you know, hocus pocus type thing, or it may seem like it's something not tangible, but it really is tangible. If you were able to change, like you guys ever seen that movie Limitless, where Matthew McConaughey, he takes that pill and all of a sudden he becomes like super smart, and he basically like becomes rich, and he knows a lot of things, and it's kind of like that, right? What's that?
Bradley Cooper, I think.
Oh, was it Bradley Cooper? Oh, okay, yeah, it was Bradley Cooper. So
I love that movie. I love the concept, right? But really, I mean, yeah, I didn't take any special pill to make this happen. It was really confidence and like really belief in myself that I can make this happen. You know, I don't think really, you really even need something like that. It's just the winner's mindset. That's the limitless pill.
Yeah, and I love this image right here. I mean, I show this all the time to my students, and basically, like, this was the first image that I've shown to my students to help them get past that winning mindset, right? I mean, within the first few sessions of just inside my masterminds, like, I show my students this. The reason why I show them this is so that they can understand this is really how Facebook ads works. Okay, like this is how Shopify, this is how e-commerce works. Like you're going out there, you're digging. Like, look at the guy on the top. He's like super excited, right? He's like excited, and this is what happens to all of us. We get into a new business, we're really excited. We keep going, just like the guy on the bottom. He was probably the same thing. He's like super excited to get it going. He's really eager, right? He works really hard, and then he never makes it. And then he's like, you know what? This is it. This is the end of the line for me. I'm gonna quit. Okay. And then the quote says, you never know how close you are. Never give up on your dreams. And he was just so close to hitting all those diamonds right there. Even if he just had a little glimpse of like a little sparkle, right? And he pulled out that first diamond, more diamonds would have came out. But he quit early. He quit too early. I've seen this too many times with so many people. They quit too early. And this is also the reason why a lot of people, they don't understand the whole concept of Facebook advertising. And Facebook advertising, the whole concept there is really kind of like this, where you're digging, and you're trying to find that gold. Because technically you're digging, and the digging that you're doing is you're digging for data, right? You're digging for all that data. You're digging for your lookalikes. You're digging for custom audiences that you can build into lookalikes. You're building for those purchase data. You're building those customer data, that customer avatar. You're finding out what's working inside your ad sets, what demographics are buying your products. Okay, all these different things that not a lot of people understand. You know, most students, they go out there, they're like, oh, I'm just gonna go and find this really hot product, and I think it's gonna sell really well. I'm gonna set up my store, not even optimizing my store, right? I'm gonna just go sell this product, and hopefully, hope and pray it works, right? And then they end up doing this. The guy in the bottom, I have hundreds of emails, like quite literally, like I can count them, hundreds of emails of students saying, hey, I was almost going to give up until I saw your video, and then I watched it, and it really gave me some light. And I even had a student, basically he was broke, right? Super broke. I'm not gonna say how broke, but like not living at home broke, right? But he saw that video, it opened the light. He saw one of my videos, and he opened the light, and essentially what happened there was he was able to take his store from $0 to $5,000 a day. And that's an example of the winning mindset. He was able to go and take action, not only just quit. If he were to just quit and say, screw it, I'm done, where do you think he would be right now? For example, some of my mentors out there, okay, Ty Lopez, if he were to just quit and just sit on the couch in Florida or California, I think was either Florida or California. But if he was to sit in his couch and just kind of quit there when he was 26 years old, where do you think he would be? Same thing with Grant Cardone, another one of my mentors, right? If he were to just quit and essentially not give a crap about his life and just, stay a drug addict, where do you think he would be? He's worth over almost $800 million right now. Okay, 26-year-old. He was basically on the brink of like drug addiction. Like he was in a drug addiction at 26 years old. He was able to change his mind. And one of the things I like about him is that he also mentions that, we all get the same programming, right? When we grow up, what can you finish this quote? A penny saved is a what is it, Jimmy? Penny saved is a
penny
exactly.
Earned.
Okay, a penny saved is penny earned. Money doesn't grow on
trees.
Okay, we all get the same programming, right? Rich people are.
I don't know that one. What is that one?
Yeah, usually like I don't know. Sometimes people say rich people are jerks or rich people are a-holes. Rich people are my favorite type of people. Okay, for me, a penny, like Grant Cardone says, a penny is a penny, right? It's just a freaking penny. A penny is not a penny saved. It's a penny. Okay, money doesn't grow on trees. Like that programming is in every single one of our minds. Eric on the call here, he says, "Thank you for your help, Taylor. Really blessed to be here." You got it, Eric. Love it to see you here. Yeah, he said mindset is key. So essentially, like we're programmed the same way. When we grow up, I was programmed in a poor family. Okay, like we had nights where like, we didn't know what to do. Like we were so poor. Like we slept on the floor, my brother and I. We were poor, right? But I wasn't taught money. I wasn't taught how to make money. I wasn't taught how to save money and not just save money, but multiply money. When money's put into your bank account, what happens there? The bank, they use that money and leverage it and make more money from it. Okay, that's the mindset. There is not about saving, but it's about how to multiply your money. If you have $100,000 in the bank and you're making like 1%, 2% returns in a whole year, you could be making 100%, 1,000% return by investing it into a business. So that's also the winning mindset. The reason why I have Jimmy here on the call with us is that because Jimmy, he's like the perfect example of that winning mindset. And trust me, guys, we're gonna have more calls like this, okay? But he's a perfect example of winning mindset. I mean, 3 years ago, I was thinking to myself, $30,000 to $40,000 net per week. That's what I'm doing right now, $30,000 to $40,000 net per week. 3 years ago, I would never have imagined that. I wouldn't even imagine $30,000 a month, right? Or even like $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year in net. Like doing that in a single week. What do you think happened there? That was a huge mindset change, huge mindset shift. Now I'm looking at doing 100K net a week. Okay, that's what I'm looking at right now, and it's like probably reachable within the next year or so. Okay, even 6 months to a year from now. But the winning mindset is essentially like this. You take a look at these people down here. Okay, this graph, and just like kind of Jimmy explained it real well. Like it's really you cannot give up, no matter how close you are. Sometimes some of you guys feel like you're so close to hitting diamonds, you're so close to hitting that gold, and you just sometimes give up way too early. I've had opportunities where, like for example, when I first started this business, I was, I think like 3 or 4 years into the business, I went broke. Okay. Not like bankrupt broke. Like I knew a couple of my friends who went bankrupt broke, but I had a friend, he went bankrupt 7 times. Okay. And he told me, Teo, every single time I went bankrupt, I made $1 million again. And then he made it again. He made it back over and over again. And I don't even know how you can even go bankrupt 7 times, right? But one of he grows big businesses, and these big businesses, they, I don't know, he's kind of like a weird guy, right? But anyway, going back to that, I went broke about 3 or 4 years into the business because I didn't have someone to help me out. I didn't have a mentor or anything like that. I was trying to do everything myself. And for those 3 or 4 years, I was pulling in maybe roughly like $30,000 net, $60,000 net a year. And until I found my mentors, my 2 mentors, Mike and Ricky, okay, they're the ones that were able to help me get to my first 7 figures. Okay, after that first 7 figures, I was able to do that consistently, constantly, every single year, year after year, breaking records every single year. Okay, because of that winning mindset. Once you get into that zone, you can't go back. Like, I can never go back to doing 30K a year net. I can never ever do that anymore. It's impossible. It's actually literally impossible for me to do that, right? It's impossible for Jimmy to go back to where he was before. We're always continuously progressing. Another reason of the winning mindset. Yeah, go
I
ahead,
think for
Jimmy.
me, a good example to that is like what I'll never go back to is so again, back to my backstory is so in January, after like I just crushed it in January. I can even I show this a lot, but for those who haven't seen it, in January I was really able to crush it just in January. And before then I was doing like $100 days, $500 days, but in January I was really able to crush it, and I was able to do $168,000 just in January alone.
Boom.
And
I love that.
yeah. And then for me, that was, and I made decent profits off this, between it varied between 15-20%. But knowing that I had figured out a system by learning the process from you, and testing my own variables, and kind of just finding my way through Facebook ads, I felt confident enough to actually quit my job in January with the government. It was, which is a very secure, very stable job. But for me, I can, at this point, I'm spoiled at this point with like, I can never go back to taking the metro to work at 6 a.m. and not getting home.
Yeah.
I mean, it would take like what's an 8-hour workday and turn it into a 12-hour workday because I'm commuting all that time. And I wake up in the morning, I'm rushing out the door to get the bus, and you miss the bus, and you got to wait half an hour for the next. I mean, it was so much stress on my life. That having something like this, a business that was able to pull in, and already just this year, I've already made my salary net with what I would have made with the government, and it's only we're in May right now, right?
Yeah.
So for me, just like you said, I can never at this point go back to working that desk job. I can never go back to taking the metro to work at 6 a.m. Like, this is the lifestyle that I always wanted. And that's why I was so determined to chase after and really let nothing stop me at that point, because this is what I was always after, this type of lifestyle where you can set your own schedule. You can, and a lot of that too, I think is probably a little bit overhyped. The whole set your own schedule, because at the end of the day, if you got yourself to that point where you can set your own schedule and pick your own days and do all that stuff, you're the type of person that's not going to slack off anyway. So even the people that dream about setting their own schedule and, I'm going to sleep in and I'm going to do this, if you get to the point where you can actually set your own schedule, you're probably not going to set, a very lenient schedule for yourself. I mean, you're probably still, even still, I can set my own schedule, but I've sent you messages at like 3-4 a.m. I mean, I stay up nonstop. I'm always working on my business, I'm up late. I wake up early because this is a process. Like I said, everything in good time for the next graphic that I want to show. There's always levels to this, right?
And it's kind of like, the whole thing about like setting your own schedule. Honestly, once you get to a level where you can set, like, for example, for me, I have 60 employees. Okay. I have one manager for all 60 employees. And each of these employees, we also have we have 6 managers for all 60 of them. Like it's like one manager, one top manager who she does the salary, she does everything. And then it's 6 other managers, okay? And then we segment our team into different departments. We have the graphic design team. We have the web development team. We have the customer support team. Okay, we have the quality assurance team. We have all these different things. And like, for example, like I can set my own schedule, but what I really, like, for example, once you get to that point, once you get to the point of, you're doing 7 figures, you're doing even 6 figures, you're doing all these things, and you essentially tell yourself, I can take any day off if I really wanted to. I can take a whole month if I really want to. But would you really? It's like saying the 4-hour work week, right? I mean, who really works 4 hours in a week? I would go crazy if I just worked 4 hours a week. And what do I do for the next however many hours there are in a week? Like, I would go insane.
Yeah, exactly.
The 4-hour work week was just meant to be building a lifestyle, and to be able to build yourself a lifestyle where you can work a 4-hour work week. That's when you know that you'll never ever work another day in your life, when you've built that lifestyle. Once you've hit that 4-hour work week, you know that you're never ever going to work any more than 4 hours. Even for me, like, I don't consider my 40, 50, 60, even 80-hour weeks, I don't consider that work. I consider that a lot of fun, which is a lot of fun. Yeah. If you're making enough money to be able to buy a Mercedes GLA every single week, that's fun, right? That's a lot of fun.
Making money is fun. So it's like, once you get to the point where you're in control of making. So I know that if I go to bed at 8, all right, I go to bed at 8, my store is optimized where it can run by itself fine. But, do I want to optimize even further? So if I want to stay up a little bit later and put in that work, I know that and again, like you said, for me, it's not working, because I know that for the efforts that I put in, I can, reap a reward from that, whether it's more money or a better, more optimized business. So it's like this right here is perfect for that. So you have, very similar to the last graphic of the miners, you have, the people up here who just really have no idea what they're doing, right? They're just kind of looking at they're watching everyone else dig, This person just wanted to dig far enough so he can escape everyone else. So he's just kind of probably like the escapist, right? He's like, I just want to dig far enough, just far enough where I can sit in a hole and relax. This guy right here, he's a person that dug just a little bit further than the guy who just wanted a hole. He dug a little bit further, but he does not have the winner's mindset. He quit. He's yelling, get me out, right? This guy is not the winner. Then you have a guy right here.
He's basically dug enough, a hole deep enough that he wants to get out. Like he's got himself into a rut, and he's like, I don't want to be in this anymore.
Right? Yeah, he probably has a little bit of fear, because even still, even when you start a business, you have to invest in it. You have to invest your time, money, energy, everything. Things you have to sacrifice certain things if you want to be successful. So he's probably visualizing him being in that hole, and he's getting uneasy about that. And I can see that. I've been there before, right? But here's a guy right here who does have, a winner's mindset. I wouldn't say the winner's mindset, right? Because he gets to the goal, and for him, that's good. So maybe, that's a good example of the guy that says, I want to set my own schedule. I can't wait until I can work from home, be my own boss, and then once I do that, I'm good, right? There's nothing wrong with that. He's found what, I guess, he looks really happy, right? So he's happy with what he did. He set his own schedule. He works 4 hours, maybe 4 hours a day, or maybe he does the 4-hour work week, right? But he's comfortable now. He makes, a decent living, has his gold, but he's relaxing. But then you have the guy who has the winner's mindset. This is the guy down here who goes further. He looks past that. So this is what I try to strive to be, right? Right here, this could be seen as hitting a 500 grand milestone. So my $500,000 right here, in 6 months, that's the gold. I'm after, and at least for me, because I know, Teo, you have your own standards, right? So your diamonds are,
I'm looking
10x what my diamonds are. So
I'm looking past those diamonds, man.
Yeah, exactly. And this is this is what it's all about, is and we talk about this too. Surrounding yourself with people that you aspire to be like. And Teo, you're one of my, you are, my mentor. You're one of my mentors that I pull from. And for a perfect example is to you, I'm probably this gold guy, and you're chasing after, multiple 7 figures. I just want to get my first 7 figures in this industry, as far as drop shipping and Facebook marketing, things like that. So this is what I'm going after. This is why I stay up late, even though I have a business that's making me a lot of money every day net. It's good, but there's always there's step more. Further.
Yeah. Like Napoleon Hill said it best, right? Essentially, he kind of, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs, even billionaires, that have read this book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I've read that book maybe 4 or 5 times. I probably even more if I probably should, right? But basically, every single time I read it, I get something new out of it. But basically, one of the things that he mentioned was, you look at a goal. You close your eyes, you picture this goal. And every single time I've done this, I have always achieved my goals. The first house that I bought, I looked at it, I pictured it, whatever it took to get that house, I did it. Whatever it took, I gave myself a time. The first car that I wanted to buy in cash, okay, the second house that I wanted to get, okay, the 7 figures, okay, basically the vacations, the trips, everything. You take a look at that and you mentally put yourself in that perspective. Like this guy with the gold, he's kind of like, he's very, very complacent. Like I've seen this a lot in this industry as well. I got complacent way too many times. Trust me, I've been doing this since 2008. I've gotten complacent so many times where I feel like, okay, now I can kind of relax, lay back and just enjoy, because, I was back then, even I was thinking like, $100 net a day was awesome. Now I can just relax and do nothing all day, right?
I even hit that too, that complacency.
Yeah.
And I told you about it. There was a point like right after January, February, I was like, oh my gosh, like I just quit my job. I don't have to work. I'm making money every day. Like if this is great. And I got to that point where I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. But like it didn't take long. It didn't take long before I was like, you know what? I think there's more to this. There's more to this. And especially like, speaking with you more, and like you just really like, you really helped me tap into that winner's mindset and realize that, because you said you've been there before, and I see that, you can always take it a step further. And we met up in Orlando a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago.
Yeah, it was like a few weeks
even
ago.
Still, I'm thinking past the diamonds at this point. I'm like, I'm going to get to the center of the earth, like after, because it's just so inspiring being around other entrepreneurs that are doing the same thing and have that same winner's mindset. We can surround yourself with people that have winner's mindsets. I'm thinking like center of the earth. Like it's unbelievable what can happen when you surround yourself with other people that want the same thing. They want to win. They want to succeed. They want, they have that entrepreneurial drive. It's amazing. So
it really is. I mean, like Jim Rome said it best too. Like, it's all about, and then I'll go back to the Napoleon Hill thing. But Jim Rome said it best. He said the top 5 people that you surround yourself with, okay, whether it be people that you know in real life or people that you look up to either on the internet or on videos, mentorships, okay, the top 5 people that you hang yourself around with, is that you hang out with and you surround yourself with, you're eventually going to become like them. Okay, so for example, my top 5 people: Grant Cardone, worth 800 million. Okay, Ty Lopez, I don't even know how much he's worth. Basically Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay, Anthony Robbins. Okay, Warren Buffett. Those are the top 5 people that I look and surround myself with. How can I grow my business? How can I grow more sales? Grant Cardone teaches that best. How can I reach more people? Ty Lopez teaches that best. How can I influence people? And how can I help influence employees and things like that? Gary Vee teaches it best. How can I prepare for my finances? Warren Buffett teaches it best. Okay, how can I motivate myself internally and get that fire rolling? Tony Robbins does that best. Okay, so when you surround yourself with these top 5 people, you eventually become like them. What happens when you surround yourself with broke people all the time? Okay, you think about it. If you surround yourself with negative people that are always pulling you down, people are always telling you, no, you cannot do it. You cannot achieve your goals. The only thing you'll amount to is 50 grand a year. Okay, the only thing you'll amount to is a life of misery. Okay, you're never going to be able to break through. If I thought of that like 3 or 4 years ago, I would never be sitting here with you right now, telling you like literally how much I make every single week and looking for more. I would never have even imagined being able to tell you that, this is just the beginning. This is just a start. I thought back then was a start. This is just a start. Okay, I'm looking at growing big things. I'm looking at helping people achieve their goals. My passion now is helping people achieve their goals, helping people be financially free. So going back to that whole Napoleon Hill thing, he said, picture something in your mind. And when I was broke, okay, when I lost my car, I had it repoed and I couldn't pay anything. I had $200 to my name. I was even surprised I had $200 to my name. That was my lowest of a low, okay? And I remember this quote. The quote was, success is a measure of how high you bounce once you hit rock bottom. Okay, and I hit rock bottom. Trust me, I hit rock bottom. Imagine $200 to your name, no car, nothing, okay? And essentially I was lost. So I gave myself 2 weeks, and I read Napoleon Hill's book. I gave myself 2 weeks. Now to add, salt to the injury, I told my friends, my best friend actually at the time, I told him that I was going to buy this car. Okay, I'm going to buy this car. It was a BMW 3 Series. I'm going to buy this car, and I'm going to pay the whole car in cash. Okay, and he laughed at me. He was like, "No, dude, I'm gonna see you at the bus station. I'm gonna roll down my window of my car and I'm gonna troll you." Okay, and that just pissed me off. I was like, I even like I was so pissed, right? I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna give myself 2 weeks, and I told him I'm gonna give myself 2 weeks. You're gonna see. I'm gonna buy that car, and here I am, repossessed car, $200 in my name, lowest of the low, depression, everything. I thought I was a complete failure. Okay. I'm pretty sure a lot of us have felt that way in some point or one way or the other in some time, and I felt like a complete failure. So I told myself 2 weeks, and I went out there on the internet. I found the product, and it was a product that people loved, and everyone wanted this product. Okay, so I went out there, I rebranded the product, and basically in 2 weeks I made $14,000. Okay, and that was probably the most money I've ever made. And essentially, I had that put into my bank account, and it was actually a week and a half. Actually, I made $14,000, and then I had that put into my bank account. I went to, I was living in New York at that time. I took the train from Staten Island to Manhattan. Went to Wells Fargo. I extracted $6,000 in cash, and that was probably the most cash I've ever held in my life at that time. And I was deathly scared, so I put all that cash in an envelope. Here I am, put it in my backpack, went on the subway, went all the way to Queens. I found the car that I wanted, that I've been looking at for the past 2 weeks. This is what Napoleon Hill said. He said, picture yourself with that object in front of you. You can feel it, you can touch it, okay, and it's there. And you wake up every single morning thinking about the services and the products that you're going to sell or render in order to get that object. Okay, so picture yourself right now. Those of you that are on the call right now, picture yourselves with that one object. What's that one object that you want? Okay, just, you don't have to
go ahead and
say
put
it
in the
right.
chat too.
Yeah, put in the chat, right?
Yeah,
Picture
let us
that
know,
one
let us know
object
what
that
your
you
goals
want.
are. Like, what are you guys thinking?
Yeah.
Like, what's your goal? Where are your diamonds at, right? Like, what is
Exactly.
that one thing that you have in your mind?
So what's that one thing, that just one thing? For me, it was that BMW 3 Series. I wanted that 3 Series. I didn't care. I wanted it. I was going to get it. I pictured myself sitting behind the wheel of a BMW, thinking to myself, this is a proud BMW owner. And since then, I bought 3 BMWs. Okay, and that was like, I don't know, a long time ago. But it's like cars are like nothing for me now. It's like I don't even think about, like, I could go out there and buy a Lamborghini in cash right now, but would I? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not that dumb. I'm gonna invest my money back into the business and grow it faster, multiply it. Okay, my mentor says, Grant Cardone. Um, he says people who buy Lamborghinis, and you're not even, like he says, you're not even at $10 million. If you buy a Lamborghini, you're broke. Okay, if you're going to go out there, even if you can buy it in cash, but you're going to buy a Lamborghini, you're broke. Okay, my goal is to take that money and multiply it. I'm 29 years old right now. By the time I'm 35, I want to be able to buy 50 Lamborghinis with cash, no problem. Okay, by the time I'm like 35, I want to be able to do that. Not by the time I'm 35, I have a Lamborghini and I'm still broke. Okay, I don't want to do that. I want to be able to multiply my money. So going back into this Napoleon Hill theory, I bought myself that car, okay, because I wanted to prove myself that it was not just in the types of products. It wasn't about that. It wasn't about the product. It wasn't about any of that. It was about the mindset. I had to reprogram my brain, okay? Most of you guys have the same programming as we all grow up. Grow up, get, go to school, do well with grades, go to college, okay? Find a good job, find a boss that can take care of you, find all these things, and eventually what happens, right? We're still relying on someone. We don't want to do that. The whole winning mindset here is not to be able to rely on anyone, to be able to make your own income, make your own money. So going back to that, I bought that car, okay? I bought that car. I went to Queens, I bought that car, $6,000 cash. I even had some money left over because I was able to negotiate for lower, right? Brought it down to like 5,000, and with taxes or whatever. And essentially, I drove that car the next day because I couldn't pick it up that day. I drove it the next day to my friend's house in New Jersey, right? And I said, and he didn't believe me. Like he went out his house. He was like in shock. His jaw was like on the floor. Like he didn't believe me. He's like, dude, how did you do that? And then he was like, teach me. Like, this is a guy who, and then of course I taught him, and he made his first $3,000 in net profit per month after, like, I think 4 or 5 months after that. He's like, dude, teach me, how do I do this? Okay. And it's all because of that winning mindset. And I credit that, the winning mindset, I credit that to Napoleon Hill. Like, he's the one that programmed my brain to change. And that's what I want to teach you guys as well. Like, you need to program your brain to change. And if you're not in that changing mentality, you're not actively looking to change. You know, Einstein said it best also. If you're constantly doing the same thing, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. That's insanity. If you're thinking that whatever you're doing right now and it's not working, but you keep doing it again anyway, and you think you're going to get something else, you think you're going to do something else and do something bigger, that's insanity. Okay? If you want different results, you have to change yourself. You have to change your mindset. You have to change the way you're doing things. Maybe the things you're doing are wrong. Maybe you're not willing to accept the things that you're doing as wrong. I'm willing to, anything that I'm doing that's wrong, I'm willing to accept it. I'm looking at people who have done this. I'm looking at people who have done 10 times my earnings, 100 times my earnings, 1,000 times my earnings. I'm looking at those guys and accepting any of the changes that I need to make in my business to improve. I'm always constantly looking to grow and learn more. Okay. If I were complacent, I could be complacent. I could say, okay, screw it. 30K, 40K a week is pretty good net profit, right? It's pretty good. Like, screw it. I don't have to do anything. You think about it, that's $120,000 to $140,000 a month in net profit. I think it's like $1.5 million a year net. Okay. I could be like, screw it. Okay. 1.5 million. I can survive off that. But for me, that's whenever I do that, that's the death of my progression. Whenever you become complacent, that's when you die. Okay. You don't want to die. You want to keep progressing. I want to build this business so big that I don't have to be greedy, and I'm going to share this. Like, I'm going out there, and I'm not just doing this for myself. I'm doing this for the families that are working for me. I'm doing this for the children that we feed in the Philippines. Okay. I'm doing this to help other people get out of their crap and essentially pull them out of it. Okay. If you're watching this video right now and you're thinking to yourself, I can never do this, or I can never do that, or I'm too deep in the hole, or I don't know how to do it. I'm here to pull you out. I'm here to, like, yank you out, not just pull you. I'm like pulling that chain out, like, get out of there. Okay. I'm here to yank you out. I don't want you to be in that same position. And I know how it feels. I know how it feels to be there. And the reason why I'm doing this is this is my passion now. It's my passion to help Jimmy out. Okay. I want Jimmy to see 7 figures by the end of this year. And I want him to see multiple 6 figures, even 7 figures in net profit by the end of this year. Let's see where we go, right, Jimmy? I want to see him.
I mean, like I said, for that winner's mindset is not even just saying, I hope it doesn't. No, like, you have to have your idea and will it into existence, right? And part of that is, like, you can, even going back to that picture, there's always more. You can always do more, believe it or not, right? You can always work a little bit harder, a little bit smarter. You can always optimize. It's not always just working longer, but like, I like that term, working smarter, not harder, right? So even if you think of, oh, that means have to work longer. No, you don't. Just optimize, right? Take some things off your plate. Get VAs to help you. Outsource some things, so that way you free up your time to work on other aspects of your business. But there's always room to improve. So no, I definitely anticipate to hit 7 figures gross, and I'm for surely gonna hit the 6 figures net. But it's all about that winner's mindset. When you just say that you're going to will this into existence, and really nothing is going to stop me. And I told you that when I first started, like on our very first call together, I told you I was going to be
one of
your $100,000 students. And probably in your mind, you're like, that's what everyone says. But
no, actually, you know what? I believed you, because I think at that time you were like 10 days in and you were already at $200 a day.
Yeah.
I remember that, man. Yeah, you were at $200 a day, and I was like, this guy, he's got a winning mindset. Like, This guy is out to make money, okay? Like 10 days in, you were at $200 a day with my training. And then I asked you, how many videos did you watch? I think you watched like over 20 or 30, right? I was like, surprised. I'm like, wow, you've done that. And he not only did that, but he was able to take the things that he learned inside the mastermind, and he was able to bring out the beast. He was able to unleash the beast. He was like, screw this. I'm not going to work. I don't want to work anymore. I don't want to work a 9-to-5 job. I don't want to be stuck at a desk. I want to be able to do whatever I want, right? Imagine yourself this, picture yourself this. What are you going to, if you're making 6-7 figures or even more, right? What can that do to your family? What can that do for you, for your family, for your friends, okay? What can that do for your lifestyle? That's going to be a huge change in lifestyle. Now, what do you have to do in order to get there? Are you just going to kind of just laze around and kind of, look at what other people are doing and kind of like admire, or are you going to take action, right? Where do you see yourselves? Like I always mention this, where do you see yourselves in the next 6 months? Do you see yourselves in the same position right now, wherever you're at right now, 6 months later? Okay, 6 months later is in what, November? In November, do you see yourselves in that same position, or do you see yourselves becoming a beast, a monster at what you're doing right now, and tripling, quadrupling, 10xing, like Grant Cardone says, right? 10xing your revenues. I mean, look at this. I immerse myself with the people, my mentors. Okay, look at this. Like, you see that right there? You see that 10x right there? That's Grant Cardone right there. Like, I mean, I have my own stuff, but I will vouch for people, my mentors. I will vouch for that. I mean, look at this. Yeah, what's this, Jimmy?
No, so this is the screenshot of my very first month. So kind of going back to what you were saying, and I think that the biggest thing, like for me at least, the thing that set me apart was when I first started, I really made it my point to watch as much training. And you don't have to be as crazy as me. Like for me, I'm kind of in my nature to be a perfectionist, and but that's just me. So when I first started, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch as much training as I can, as quickly as I can. And by doing that, by just diving in, face first, I was able to hit the ground running with my store. And I think that's really important. Like if you're gonna, and for me, if I do something, I want to give it my best effort. I want to give it, and going back to the winner's mindset, like, let me just try this and see what happens. No, if you're gonna do something, do it right. Invest your time and invest in yourself. And my very first day, I actually hit $55. The next day, I was like probably one sale. But you can see, this graph right here, like you can clearly see the scaling, right? It's going, there's big days and it's drops, but that's also part of the Facebook pixel. And you're gonna have these ups and downs when you first start out. But that's part of also weathering that storm. But overall, you can see like it's an upward trend. And like the last 4 days, I'm hitting $100, 165, like 200 here, like consistently. But again, going back to the winner's mindset, just saying, you know what, before I start, I think at the time you had like maybe 30 videos. So I said, all right, 30 videos, 30 days. And believe it or not, now it doesn't seem like that much because now I have like more free time that I'm working from home. At the time, working in DC and everything, it was tough to kind of squeeze those in with the videos and also running my store and adding products and launching things. Because you have some really good content. They're like 2 hours each video. So I think it's just taking that extra step and taking it seriously, taking yourself seriously, believing in yourself and saying, I'm going to do the training. I'm going to do this. I'm going to give it my best effort. Give something your best effort, and you'll be surprised what comes out.
Yeah, imagine if you were to quit right there. Okay, yeah. In October, if you were to quit right there, not only would you be losing, the 520, if we did the math, $526,000 in sales that you would have missed out in the next, 4, 5, 6 months. You would have not only missed out on that, but you would have missed out on a skill for a lifetime. Like, not only can you, you were thinking 530,000 right now. If we go and if let's say we fast track into the future, 6 months from now, we're doing this video, Jimmy and I, and all of a sudden Jimmy's like, dude, I'm at like $1 million. I'm at like 1.5 million, right? We look back to this video and we're like, dude, you were at 500,000 just 6 months ago. Now you're at $1 million. Now you're at 1.5. Theoretically speaking. Like for example, I did a video back when this is kind of just a side story, but I did a video on YouTube back when Bitcoin was $8,000, right? And I invested about 5 grand in that video. Like I just put in money, like 5 grand in that video. And at that time, Bitcoin was at 8,000. That was in November. It went all the way up to like 20,000, right? So I invest, like, this, just kind of side note, but if you were to like take a look at yourself and see what you did back then, you'd be surprised what you can do, right? You, not just Bitcoin, but just in Shopify or even in business in general, you'd be surprised what you can do. Even 6 months ago today, looking at myself now, I'm like, wow, huge improvements. Okay, even a year ago, even 2 years ago from now, big changes, major changes. Every single year in my life, there has been a big change. I mean, one of the biggest change right now, it's not even like, I don't even care about the money, but one of my biggest changes right now is we had a daughter, okay? And like, that is my why. Like Jimmy was telling me, like, he was like, that's your why. Like, it's not for me, like, money is good and everything else like that, but obviously, like, when I had my daughter, I'm like, I want to build this business for her. I want her to be the CEO in the future. You know, when she's 20, 25, 30, I want her to be the CEO. I want to build this empire so big that it can never fail. Okay, I want to build it so big that no one can take it away from me. And you got to work as hard. So you got to work so hard that someone is going to take your business away from you. That's how hard you have to work. You have to work that hard, even more. Okay, for me, I outwork every single one of my employees. We have 60 employees. I outwork every single one of them, guaranteed. The same thing with Gary V, right? He says, I will outwork every single one of my employees. And it's true. I look at Grant Cardone's schedule, right? He has a specific schedule. He wakes up 8 a.m. or I think it's like 6 a.m. He goes, works out in the gym. And these are the things that I want to mirror for myself. He goes, works out at the gym, and then he goes and he has breakfast. He has some family time. He goes and shoots a video. He goes to the office. He shoots a video. At lunchtime, he has another video. He has interviews. Or in the morning, he has sales teams meetings. In lunchtime, he has more videos that he shoots. And then during the day, he has calls, and then he has more training, and then he has another video that he shoots. Okay. In the evening, he goes home, spends an hour time with his family, goes to sleep, and then he has wife time, and then he goes to sleep, back again, circle. Okay. It's a lifestyle that you live. But the lifestyle that you live, a lot of people, you know, they dream of this lifestyle, but they don't want to work to get this lifestyle. For example, here's a good quote. Live like no one would, so that later on you can live like no one could. Okay. So back then, when I started doing ads and everything else like that, I was putting all my money into it, right? I was living like no one would, like ramen noodles and all this other stuff. Like, who cares? Like, the biggest media buyers I know right now that spend over $100 million a month, they were like that. You know, they were like ramen noodles and putting all their ads, all their money into advertising, right? But live like no one would, so that later on you can live like no one could. Are you willing to sacrifice maybe 5 years of your life so that you can live the rest of your years living like no one could? Okay, traveling the world, doing all these things. There's a price to pay. Okay, there's really a price to pay to being able to do all these things, and that's where the winning mindset comes into place.
I remember you saying that on one of the first sessions I ever listened to with your training, and that really rang true with me. And I remember this, and that's when I started implementing the things that I did, as far as like, you know what, I'm gonna watch your videos on the way to work. I'm gonna watch your videos on the way back from work. You know, I leave at 6 a.m. I get back at 6 p.m. I get back at 6. I eat like a quick snack, and then I'm working on my ads. I'm working on optimizing my store. I'm launching new products. I would stay, you know, I'd work from like 6 to like 2, 3 in the morning. I would get a couple hours of sleep, and then I'd go right back to work again. Like, literally, I would sleep for the first like few months. I slept for maybe 3 hours a day, no joke. Sometimes I didn't sleep at all. But that's when, like, so what you said was so true. Like, live like no one would, right? Or live like no one could, or what was it? Live like no one would, so you can live like no one could, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, you just if you go like, if you give something like outwork your competition, like, because everyone's like, really, there's other people out there trying to do the same thing as you. You know, if you can be a little bit better than them, you know, your store's, you know, more optimized, you know, you launched, you know, a few more ads in this other, like, then you can really start to separate yourself from the rest of the pack. Even going back to like opportunity cost for October, I put up this other screenshot because I wanted to show you this one. And this going like all in, right? Going all in for that first month. I mean, that is what allowed me to get like these results right here, like 3,000. A lot of people I think would kill for like 3,800 their first month. I mean, that's amazing, but it took a lot of work. I mean, I was exhausted, I was tired, but I was fueled. I was fueled by
was it worth it?
The success. It was absolutely worth it, because if you look at this is my first month, $3,800, and that I was so happy when like to know, okay, you know what, I found something, I did it, and like there's actually something to this. Like there's you know, I was that person, like I like who was that miner who like saw like that first speck of gold, right?
Yeah.
So I saw that, I was like, you know what, there's something behind the rest of this. So if I were to just like be complacent or stop there and didn't keep pushing, I wouldn't be able to do this next screenshot, which is that's what I did my first month. This is what and this is a fresh screenshot, like fresh grab, right? You can even see, look, today compared to May 2nd. So today is May 3rd and 8 p.m., which it is right now. I'm $5,300 today. I'll probably finish at like $7,000 a day. I mean, I'm going to finish almost double in one day what I did my first month. And that's because I didn't stop. I optimized and I kept going. I kept pushing forward. I had that winner's mindset, and the same principles I applied in October, I applied the same principles in November and December, and it's about 10xing. Like you said, like I take the same formula that I use in October, but this time when I'm entering November, I already have a base, I already have data, I already have products, I already have a store that's built, and then I apply the same thing and I grow it from there. And every month I'm trying to double up. I'm trying to try to 10x, right? And so it's something like shoot for the stars and land in the clouds, right?
Yeah.
That's a saying. So set your bar really high. Set your bar really high, and that way, when you still do amazing things, you still get success from it. Even if you don't hit your goal 100% of the time, if you set the bar really, really high, then you're still going to be happy with your results at the end of the day.
Yeah, like notice how we didn't even flinch. Like $5,000 a day, that's like normal, right?
I mean, that's like normal for us. I could do more.
Yeah, you could do more. Like you're thinking like 3 times this. But in terms of e-commerce, also like one of the hardest things in e-commerce is learning how to scale, right? $5,000 a day, you realize how many orders that is. You realize how many orders that takes for fulfillment and shipments. Okay, not knowing how to do that correctly will cripple your business. Okay, even like we have a student, he's doing like $30,000 a day, right? Not knowing how to do that and the fulfillment, that will cripple your business. But like right now, it's like $5,000 a day. We're not even flinching. Like this is normal for us, right? $5,000 a day is pretty normal for us. Like this is stuff that we see all the time. And now that we're looking at this, we're like, okay, how can we take this to like 15,000? Okay,
exactly.
How can we take this to like $50,000 a day? That's the whole point of the winning mindset. If you were to go back in October, okay, even some of you guys that are watching this on this call right now, you're pretty complacent, like $3,000 in a single month. That's only like anywhere between like $100-$200 a day, and you're pretty complacent. You're like, I'm comfortable, I'm okay, I don't want to grow, right? That's a poor mindset. For me, like being poor is having a poor mindset. Okay, being rich is having a rich mindset, a winning mindset, something that no one can ever take away from you, and something that you're going to just be impossible it's going to be impossible to take away from you, and something that it's like ingrained in you. Okay, if your standards are this high while you're working 6 months ago this low, then you have to get up to where your standards are. Okay, if you're working at this right now, you have to go here. Okay, if you're launching 1 ad a day, you have to launch 10 ads a day if you want to get there. If you're launching just 1 campaign a week, you got to launch 50 campaigns a week. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. You have to have that winning mindset. You have to, whatever it is that you see in front of you, whether it's a house, whether it's a car, whether it's $1 million in the bank, whether it's any of this, you have to set those levels. Okay, no one's going to set those levels for you. we can definitely help you get there. Like when watching this video, you're probably setting your expectations even higher. Just even seeing Jimmy's screenshots here, $5,000 in a single day. That was May 2nd. This is May 3rd. Okay. Even seeing
today.
screenshots like
Just
that. Oh, that was today?
Yo, it's compared.
Okay.
So the gray is May 2nd.
We're not even done with the day. It's like 9 p.m.
That's what I'm saying. Like you see right here, 8. Like this is fresh data. I'll probably finish it like 7, maybe, or maybe like 6.5.
Yeah. So so you see, like that's the new goal. Like if Jimmy was hitting $5,000-$6,000 a day, and he all of a sudden he can never ever go back to the $200 a day, right? Yep. You can't go back to that. I mean, like when you do go back to that, you just want to get back to where you're at right now, and you know how to do it. Because once you've done the process, you know how to do it. Once you've learned Facebook ads, once you've learned the skills to a converting Shopify store, you're never going to go back to where you originally was. You're basically, you've invested so much in yourself that you can never go back to where you were 6 months ago, 7 months ago. Okay, you can never go back to that. It's just nearly impossible. It's nearly impossible for you, unless like something happens and you can't. And it's like impossible for you to get back to there, but it's nearly impossible for you to go back to where you were 6 months ago. So that guys is the winning mindset. All right. So let's see. We have a lot of comments here, but I just want to kind of end it off and kind of give it over to Jimmy here as well. But I want to kind of end it off and let you guys know that it's not impossible to reach these numbers that we're just talking about. Okay. It's not impossible to reach. For example, like I'm looking at guys like Grant Cardone. He's doing, he does events and like makes $10 million an event or even more. Okay, now I watched a video of him. He did a video with Ty Lopez, and now they had I think like a 5,000 people event. Now they're trying to go for an 18,000 people event. Okay, they're looking at different stadiums and seeing like literally stadiums, like speaking in front of stadiums, right? And they're looking at stadiums and closing people in stadiums versus the 5,000 people event. They're looking at 18,000 people events. Okay, you're always progressing every single time. There's plenty of money to be made out there. There's never ever a shortage of money. There's always money to be made. Okay, if someone tells you that there's a shortage of money, they're lying to you. Okay, if you're telling yourself there's a shortage of money, you're lying to yourself. Okay, there's never ever a shortage of money out there. There's always money to be made. It's how you can acquire that money. Money for me is fictional. It's just a writing in a bank somewhere. Okay, it's just a number in a bank somewhere. How can I take that money and grow it out even faster? Okay, things like, I mean, we take a look at money and we're thinking about like things we can buy with it. We take a look at money, we think of things that things that are tangible that we can use it for: food, gas, house, whatever. But the rich, they look at money and they see it as a number. They look at money, it's like a game to them. Like for me, it's literally like a game. Like it's like me playing video games, right? And it's like taking this money here, putting it here, or taking this chunk of money here, putting it here, taking this chunk, investing it here. And it's literally like a game for me. The rich, they think of money as a game. It's not anything tangible anymore. It's just fictional. It's just writing, right? So that's where I want to end my rant there. But that's really the winning mindset. You have to really focus on what you want, get and achieve whatever you want, and learn how to acquire it. All right. So I'll turn the time over to Jimmy here for some ending thoughts.
I mean, like I think we've just been hammering it in all call, just how important it is, because and as we go forward, I think we're going to do a lot more of these calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays, all about and really, as we talk, like the main theme really that everyone that's successful in this business is the winner's mindset. It's the one. It's not. Yeah, sure, you need hot products. You need a store that's optimized. You need to learn how to do Facebook ads. You need pixel. There's a lot of things you need, but if you don't have the winner's mindset, it doesn't matter. I can hand my store over to someone right now. Ridiculously optimized pixel. It's consistently making money. I have a hot product, multiple hot products, optimized for everything. But if you don't have the winner's mindset, sales are going to
burn it to the ground.
Go crush it. It starts with the winner's mindset. You have to have the winner's mindset. And then once you have that, everything else falls into place. And tell you, I've told you this we spoke a lot lately, and I've told you, like, and I said this even at the beginning of the call, I was never a internet marketer. I was never a Facebook guy or you know, a Shopify guy. I was just someone who, and then I do this with a lot of things in my life. I learn something, I obsess over it, I dissect it, I learn everything I can about it, and then I take action. And that's, again, the winner's mindset. And if you can do that, if you can really own something and just attack it full force, relentlessly, and just give it everything that you have, really everything that you have, with a positive mindset that you can do it and you will do it, there's really nothing that makes me any different from anyone else. It starts with the mindset. If you have that mindset, everything else will fall into place. Everything else will fall into place after that. So that's why I think it was important this on our second call that we really hammered this in, because everything else we do after this is all gonna be predicated on having the winner's mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like, if you want to be an astronaut, you know, whatever, if you really work towards it, you're going to become an astronaut, right? If you want to become whatever it is you want to become, you're going to have to work for it. There's someone out there that's trying to take it away from you. And you better work your butt off in order to get whatever it is that you want, right? So once again, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Jimmy, so much for this. We're going to do these every week. We're going to do these Thursdays and Tuesdays. But you know what? That's the ending thoughts for today. The key takeaway for today is, if you want to succeed, you have to go out there and get that winning mindset. You have to think about whatever it is that you want. Picture how much money you need to make it, and then go out there and make it, no matter what it takes. Or else, otherwise, you're going to be in the same place, in the same situation, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years down the road. Do you want to change your life? If you really want to change your life, you got to do something about it. Okay, we're here to help. All right. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching this video and this webinar, and we'll see you guys later.